Okay, so on today's episode of Kicking Around the Kitchen, what we have here is just going to show you a few things I've been up to today. First of all, the kitchen was a little bit unkempt, and so was the house, but I spent some time cleaning it so you can see my assortment of cleaning products here. I've been cleaning quite a bit. Also, you might notice the isopropyl alcohol. No, I wasn't cleaning with that, but if you'll see there, the fire at the end, it's a little cold here in the Northeast, so we decided, go ahead and light the fire one last time. Doing a little cleaning of the cabinets, so these were just empty sitting in the back. I don't know why somebody didn't throw those away, just laziness. We have a slice of sweet potato pie that was made. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. And that actually came as a child of, as you can see, a child of this larger sweet potato pie. Again, we'll be talking about that later. Also, we have here some multi-meal deals. If you shop at Acme, every week look at their multi-meal deals. You can get any combination of 4 types of meats, from seafood all the way to beef to chicken, and I'll charge you $19.99, and you can mix and match. Buy by the weight. I like to pick the heaviest packages. So as well, another tip here, always go for the manager specials. You see that 30% off there? That is because that is the last day that it can be sold, but it's not the last day that it can be eaten. Buy the manager specials. They are just as good as everything else until the day of the manager special. You wouldn't see that tag on it. It is the exact same meat. It'll come at 30 to 50% off. I say the same thing about meat ends and cheese ends and things like that. If you don't mind it looking a little bit different, but tasting exactly the same and saving 30 to 50% in these last days that we're dealing with, I say go for it. Kitchen staples here, we have some regular yellow onions. These are Peruvian sweet onions. I do like those quite a bit, especially sauteing. And these red onions, of course, red onions are less pungent, so they can be used directly in salads and things like that without cooking. This is from the blender. Oh yes, what I'd like to show you here is what I've been doing is making my own iced tea. This iced tea is made with mandarin oranges and lemon. I wanted to take the entire lemon, the entire fruit, but the problem is, of course, you get a lot of additional husks and things like that, or what we want to do is just strain that out. So I have my Venturi. This is actually good for decanting red wines, but it also acts as a nice filter and aerator. So I can just go ahead and filter out some of this. It's going to take a while. I'll show you what it comes out to in the end, but it will take a bit of a time to filter it. I probably need to use a slightly larger, and I do have a more coarse one. Okay, so let's get down to it. So what happened was, one of the family members here cooked this sweet potato pie. Looks good, right? Deep dish. I personally don't prefer the deep dish pies for sweet potato. I like the sweet potatoes to be a lot thinner. The pies, in order to get more crust and more patina, I'd rather have two crusty or more, two more crusty or toasted slices of pie equal to one large thick slice of pie. This is good for apple pies, I think, and any pies that have fillings in them, but where the filling is what you're looking for. For me, the sweet potato pie, I'm interested in that taste of that caramelized sweet potato, and so I prefer to use thinner crust. As you'll see, the ones that, you can get them here pre-bought, pre-baked, not pre-baked, but pre-bought in these smaller pans. I prefer these for cooking. However, what we're doing today is not necessarily, we're not cooking a sweet potato pie, we are repairing one. What do I mean by repairing one? Well, as beautiful as this pie looks, and quite frankly, as good as it tastes, it does taste very good. At least the filling does. Someone did an excellent job with putting this together, presenting it, cooking it, the filling, the consistency is all great. Unfortunately, this person did not have a pie crust. And so this person looked up how to create a pie crust online. Didn't have all the exact ingredients that were needed, and therefore they used some of their own ingredients. Crust makes the pie, as all of you know. What happened is this crust came out, if you can look here, it came out very cakey. It is not flaky at all. It also does not have the right consistency on the tongue. It doesn't really have a great taste. It's almost a bland taste. And probably most unfortunate of all is that it leaves somewhat of a bitter aftertaste. So I'm not really sure what was going on with that. However, I did get permission from the constructor of this pie to do a kitchen repair, you know? Kitchen sweet potato pie 911. So, how do we do this? Well, I did find that I had a couple of these thin crust pies. Unfortunately, one of those was badly damaged. It was just a bunch of crumbles. And then the other one was in better shape. However, even though it was in better shape, it still had cuts and cracks and a few pieces missing. So, I realized I needed to repair that. Go ahead and put a little bit more of this in here. Keep straining it as I go along. I realized I needed to actually repair that pie crust. And so what did I do? Well, what I did was I took a little bit of, just regular old butter, lightly salted butter, as you can see there. I combined that with, if you look here, a little bit of brown sugar. And then I added a little bit of vanilla extract. This is imitation. I prefer real, but I couldn't find it. I added in regular seasonings that you would put into a sweet potato pie, like cinnamon. The pumpkin pie spices is pretty good. It has nutmeg and ginger and all of that in it. But I also added just a little bit here of this almond extract. Then I took that and I placed it in a bowl and I only heated it up for maybe 35, 40 seconds here. You can see the remnants here. I heated that up and made a glaze, which I whisked into a nice glaze. That glaze I then transferred over to the broken pie. Now, I wish I had taken pictures of this before. What I did was I filled in all the cracks, and then I used that broken pie, and I actually used the glaze as a glue to keep it all together. Now that that was all done, I then took the rest of that pie, and I just basically crumbled it and placed it at the bottom. And then, as you can see here, I'll illustrate what was done because it needs to be done anyway. And what I did here was I transferred this over to the oven at a simple roast 350. I prefer the roast setting, if you'll see there. The reason for the roast is because on this oven at least, when it's set to roast, what it does is it actually cycles through and keeps an even temperature throughout the oven. If you look right now, you'll see that it says convection roast. If you were to keep watching this as it cycles, you'll see right now it's at the bottom and it's heating from the bottom up. Every so many minutes when it's set to convection roast, what's going to happen is it's going to cycle to the middle element that you can see back there, that middle element, and then finally to the top element to heat from the top. So it keeps it a consistent temperature in the oven, as well as that fan back there is blowing at all times. That's what convection means, to keep the heat nice and even. So you're getting heat from the top, middle, bottom cycling through, as well as you have a fan blowing that hot air to keep it consistently the same temperature throughout the oven. Okay, what we have is a little bit of butter I didn't put back here. Let's always, clean up as you go along. Keep a clean kitchen. Okay, so now that that's been done, what do we do? Well, now that's been done, we are now going to complete the repair of this pie, and I'll see you in our next video of how that repair goes, as well as what the reactions are. Thank you.